You're looking for a pool vacuum that actually lets you spend more time swimming and less time wrestling with a hose, a tangled cord, or a clunky manual brush. You want something reliable, easy to live with, and worth the money, not a gadget that looks impressive on paper but turns your backyard into a maintenance nightmare. That's the exact spot most of us hit when we start comparing the endless list of robotic cleaners, and it's why I spent a few evenings scrolling through forums, watching how-to videos, and reading the handful of reviews that do exist for the 2026 new BUBLUE C20H Gen2. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. If you own an Inground pool between 1,000 and 1,600 square feet, you've probably already learned that the biggest headaches are not the specs but the day-to-day reality of keeping the surface clean, the walls free of algae, and the floor free of sand that the filter misses. Traditional suction vacuums are either permanently tethered to a power outlet, limiting where they can go, or they rely on a small battery that dies before they finish a single pass. The market has tried to solve that with cord-free models, but many of those still need a separate power base that you have to plug in each season, which adds clutter and another point of failure. When I started looking at the BUBLUE C20H, the thing that jumped out was its blue hybrid claim, a single unit that can run on a cord for full power cleaning and then switch to a cordless mode for those hard-to-reach corners without pulling a long cable through the water. The hybrid approach makes sense in practice. When I first set it up, I plugged the unit into the nearest outlet and let it run on corded mode while the pool was empty. The robot suction felt noticeably stronger than many entry-level cordless models I've tried, thanks to its blue hole technology that creates a wider intake area. After the initial sweep, I switched it to cordless mode and let it roam the shallow steps and the waterline where a cord would normally snag on the ladder. The transition was seamless, a single button flip and the internal battery took over, giving me about 90 minutes of run time, which is plenty for a full-cycle clean on a medium-sized pool. The real win, however, is the app. You can schedule a clean for sunrise, adjust the cleaning pattern from floor only to wall and floor, and even manually steer the robot from your phone if you see a spot that needs extra attention. That kind of control feels less like a set-and-forget gadget and more like a smart assistant that respects the way you actually use your pool. Now, no device is perfect, and the C20H has a few trade-offs that become clear once you live with it for a week or two. First, the cordless battery, while respectable, does drain faster if you crank the suction to its maximum setting. In a pool with a lot of fine debris, say, after a windy weekend that blows sand and pollen into the water, you might find yourself needing to recharge the battery halfway through a cleaning cycle if you stay on the high suction mode. That isn't a deal breaker, but it does mean you have to plan for a short break if you want a thorough deep clean. Second, the robot's navigation, driven by IBIS mapping, works great in a clean, open pool, but it can get a little confused when the waterline is covered with a thick layer of leaves or when the pool has unusual features like a built-in jacuzzi section. In those scenarios, you'll notice a few missed spots, and you might have to run a second pass or give it a manual nudge via the app. Finally, the unit is a bit heavier than some ultralight cordless models, which matters if you need to lift it out of the water for storage. You'll want a sturdy hand or a small step stool to get it onto the deck without a strain. So, who should consider the BUBLUE C20H and who might look elsewhere? If you have an Inground pool in the 10001-600 Sq.Ft range, you're already dealing with a surface that's too large for a simple manual vacuum but not massive enough to justify a high-end commercial robot. The hybrid design gives you the flexibility to clean both the main basin and the tighter corners without constantly replugging a cord, and the app integration is a genuine time saver if you like setting schedules while you're at work. Homeowners who are comfortable with a little bit of tech, installing a Wi-Fi connection, fiddling with an app, and handling a modestly sized battery will find the C20H a solid middle ground between budget-friendly corded vacuums and premium fully autonomous models. On the other hand, if your pool is on the smaller side, under 1,000 square feet, or you're looking for a set-and-forget robot that you never have to think about again, a simpler cordless unit with a longer battery life might be a better fit. Likewise, if you have a lot of heavy leaf fall or a pool with complex geometry, you may want to invest in